This is the world we live in. It's our fault. You cannot tack this on God and say, man, it's your fault that I sinned. It's your fault that I did all this. You know, when he gave us a perfectly good ultimatum here, listen, you guys can love me by your free will, or you can reject me and take upon whatever you put on yourself. We did this to ourselves.
He's missing a bigger point here. If we had a gene that allowed us to synthesize vitamin C, which we
do have, it's just broken.
Okay, right. Obviously, we have something in our code that used to work, and now it doesn't. That's the opposite of evolution. That's an example of losing something, not gaining something. What examples do you have where we are gaining a gene that'll allow us to eat nails and synthesize, protein or something?
If I go and research this and find you an example, will you concede the point?
Oh, yeah. If you can find anything we're gaining. I still want to find out how we know a rock is Cambrian. You said you were going to research that.
I already told you how we know a rock is Cambrian. It's by the index fossils.
And it's circular reasoning, exactly like I showed you.
It's actually not circular reasoning, but it's such a sticky issue that I don't think I'm going to be able to debate it properly on the radio with you.
Okay. Well, we'll set up a debate at a university sometime. Let's do that.
I don't want to do that.
You are going to do that?
I want to, yeah.
Oh,
if I can swing that.
I have a very hard time finding opponents for debate, so please do. Okay.
I want to get back to this thing about vitamin C in a different program. Can I go to one more thing before I leave?
Sure.
Okay. This will probably take just a few more minutes. Are you familiar with the Nation of Islam?
I am.
What do you know about the mythology of it?
The mythology, they started off, they believed in 365 gods, and Muhammad came along and said, no, only the moon god is God. None of the other gods.
No, the Nation of Islam. Like Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X.
Oh, okay. No, I guess I'm not real familiar with that. I know the religion of Islam and the history behind that, and how it was started by the Catholic Church to get the Holy Land back for them.
Okay. Well, the Nation of Islam is a horrible distortion upon Islam, which is already a horrible distortion upon Judeo-Christianity. But
Wait. Now, there I disagree. Islam is not a distortion of Christianity.
But they share some of the Old Testament stuff, like the Father.
Okay.
It has some of the similar mythology, is what
Sure.
I'm trying to say. Okay. So they basically believe that God is a black man, and that the Earth is 66 trillion years old with a T.
Hey, wow.
Okay. And they think that there's these elite black scientist guys in this floating spaceship that's sort of like the Death Star in Star Wars, and it can float like 40 miles above the Earth, and that the white man is actually some kind of weird scientific experiment that happened 6,000 years ago.
No, right? I feel like it sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, this is pretty dumb, right, Kent?
I agree with you 100%. I'd say real dumb, maybe, rather than pretty dumb, but go ahead.
It borders on just insane, retarded, whatever. Okay, fine.
Would that be not only a dumb, would that be a dangerous religion?
I'm not sure if it's dangerous because it's so ridiculous, it's hard for me to believe anybody actually even believes in it.
No, but because of what it causes them to do.
Well, okay, yeah, it might be very dangerous.
That's why I say evolution is dangerous, too. But go ahead.
Oh, this is what I'm getting to, though. See, you say that evolution is the dumbest religion in the history of the world, and I want you to, I would like to stand in front of you and for you to look me in the eye and tell me that evolutionary biology is dumber than this.
Well, you're comparing things that are pretty hard to compare.
You said that evolution is a religion, Kent.
It is. Oh, I agree, it is.
Then it's comparable in your eyes.
Sure.
Are you telling me that evolution is dumber than the Nation of Islam's mythology?
Boy, now you're training at a gnat again, which is typical.
No, I'm not. I'm getting at the things that you tell people to win arguments.
I still think to say that there's a spaceship floating up there that super smart black people doing experiments with white people, that is incredibly dumb. But to believe that we all came from a rock, I would have to say is dumber. We could vote.
I've already defeated you on that point. No evolutionary biologist says we come from a rock. That is a straw man argument. Speaking of straw man arguments that you were lambasting 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so you said that come from rocks, plural, right?
No, I didn't say that. I said it would be more appropriate. I did not say that's what we should say.
A male and a female.
I was just checking with you. I'm sorry.
Got to have a male and a female rock.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
When you say, let me ask you a question. When you say we come from a rock, do you mean that the Earth is the rock?
Yeah, that's what evolution teaches.
The Bible says the same thing. It says God took the dirt off the ground and made us with it. What's the difference?
What's the difference? That's like saying, well, this computer is made of natural components, therefore it made itself. Or to
answer the question, Kent.
I'm answering the question. There's a big difference between saying an intelligent person can take natural components and make a computer, and saying the computer can make itself. That's the difference.
Why don't you just say you think that
there's a God involved, there's a designer involved? Yes, he took the dirt and made the human, and yes, they took the iron and made the car at Detroit.
Don't you see what I'm trying to say? If I were a Christian, if I were you, I could go out and say, Christians believe that we all came from a rock, except God did it. God took the rock and made man out of it. And evolutionary biologists say, oh, well, the rock just, fell into soup from the rain and, evolved, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. If it's the same material, what is the distinguishing characteristic?
The distinguishing characteristic is the designer.
That is not what you say, though. You don't say that.
Oh, yes, I've always said Christians believe man came from the dirt, the dust of the ground, because the designer arranged it. And I could point out everything in this building that I'm sitting in just comes from natural components, but it's somebody used some intelligence to create it in this position.
Why don't you just say evolutionists believe it all happened by itself? That would at least be a more honest characterization. If you think it's ridiculous, why don't you just say that?
Evolutionists believe that the rock turned into the human all by itself.
That's basically.
That's what I said.
I don't think it sounds any better. I'm sorry. I don't think that sounds any better.
But we do believe we came from rock, too. The only difference is what changed the rock. Was it natural processes, or was it a supernatural force? That's the only difference.
I know that. What I'm saying is evolutionists believe we come from rocks, and evolutionists believe a rock turned into a human. I don't think they sound any worse than each other. I think they're pretty equivalent. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that when Kent Hovind gets up on his soapbox and says the evolutionists think that we came from a rock, he's being disingenuous. Because that is not what we say, and the only reason he says that is to make it sound stupid. But you think the same thing. It's just God plus rock equals man, as opposed to rock plus natural processes equals man.
God plus dust.
Well, no, let's just look at this.
Dust, rock, dirt, whatever. It's the same thing.
Iron ore.
That's not really.
Iron ore plus time equals nails, or iron ore plus intelligent input equals nails.
Yeah, well, evolutionary biologists would say that the intelligent input came from natural processes.
From a rock. Now, is it possible for nails to be produced by themselves by natural processes in an iron ore, in a vein of iron ore? Is there any possibility
with no organism coming about to modify it?
Right. Could a nail?
Not very likely.
Right. Is it possible that a complex organism like man could come about by natural processes? You don't think a nail could happen, but you do think a human being could happen.
Well, it's not like it's just a rock sitting there. There's all kinds of other things that are going on. We've got liquids and organic materials that are forming. This is what abiogenesis is. It's not just a dry rock sitting there.
Okay, well,
it's what you make it sound like.
Okay, get some iron ore and do some things to it that would be also natural processes: erosion, thermal expansion. Make me just a nail, a simple nail. I'll take a 16D box. Okay. Galvanized.
No, nobody's claiming this is possible. I'm not even claiming this is possible.
But I'm trying to show you to say that couldn't happen, which I would agree. It is orders of magnitude more complex to say humans. A living thing could do this.
Absolutely. If somebody were claiming that the humans just crawled up out of the rock or crawled up out of the soup, there is, a couple of billion years in between here with natural processes acting in different directions.
I knew you would call upon your God of time.
It's not a God of time.
You call that out of the box. Oh, well, God could do it. Time could do it.
It's not just time. It's time plus chemistry.
What chemistry would take an iron ore deposit and turn it into a nail?
Well, probably nothing.
Okay.
I'm not claiming that.
What chemistry would take a rock and turn it into a human? You think there are natural chemistry processes that do that?
It's looking that way, yeah. You got rain, lightning, breaking it down into organic molecules that form into eventually these proto-cells and et cetera. I mean, it's not quite science yet, like I said before, but it's scientific.
Well, I'm glad you believe that. We got to get going here. You can call in tomorrow. I got other folks waiting, but
okay.
I disagree that it's scientific. Okay.
One more thing. I want to hear your policy statement about the Nation of Islam. Are you maintaining that evolution is dumber than the Nation of Islam's mythology?
Yeah, I would say evolution is dumber than the Nation of Islam.
Okay, I'll take you on that later.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye.